Okay, so lastly, it's going to be that we're going to call it variable controlled content, right? This is something that we've done in other advanced authoring classes. This had that mobile focus, kind of, uh, but it's really neat to do things this way. You can do this method in both Storyline and Captivate, but I just want to show you here how it goes, okay? And if you look at what this thing is here, this is the idea of this, what we kind of used in class and in Maggie's project is this bartender, okay? So drink responsible, we did that. And basically, you have these options of drinks. Do you want a Manhattan, a martini, an old fashioned, or a mixed drink? Some of them, like, do you want it on the rocks, straight up neat? Then, of course, do you want it whiskey or bourbon? And then finally, your just sweetness level, okay? Multitude of drinks out there, we get it, but these are just the ones that we're going to start on. And just to show you how updating a variable, so capturing the user inputs and their choices, can kind of control this and give everybody a different experience, really based on their decisions, okay? And what we need to do before you even begin is plan and organize, okay? So we know that this here is what type of drink that you want. And the thing that we have to realize is we only want to have a minimal amount of variables that we can refer to. Like, you don't want a variable called Manhattan, yes or no, martini, yes or no. These are all drinks, okay? So we're going to go ahead and map this out, and we need to create a variable called drink, okay? So I'm going to come up and I'm going to go up there and go to project, go to variables, and I'm going to add a new one and just call it drink, okay? I'm going to go with capital D-R-I-N-K, drink. Save that. Okay. What I suggest that you do is, I see that this is it, capital D-R-I-N-K. That is there. I can see it. But now I don't. Do the best that you can, and I know it's 2018 and almost 2019. Grab yourself a writing utensil, okay? Pen, pencil, something along those lines. Jot it down on a piece of paper exactly how it is in there. That way you don't forget about it and don't make mistakes later, okay? So the first one that we have is called drink. Then we cruise down here and, well, how do you want your drink, okay? What's the style of this thing? Do you want it on the rocks? So I'm going to go ahead and call that style. I'm going to come up here, go to project variables, add a new one. I'm going to call it style, S-T-Y-L-E, okay? This can be done with any project, mind you. It doesn't have to be drinks like this. This is just the example that we're using because it was relevant to the class discussion. If you're doing shoes, if you're doing food, whatever it is, it's all relevant to that, okay? And it's just a matter of organizing this, okay? So I've organized the first one to be drinks, this one to be style. This one here, obviously whiskey or bourbon, is going to be liquor. So I'm going to do another variable and call it liquor. I'm sticking to my theme here of what they call title case, right? So my first letter is going to be capitalized, no value, right? And then finally down here we have the sweetness, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and call it not sweetness, but sweet, okay? Add new, name, sweet, okay? Okay. Name, sweet, value, boom. Okay. And I just want to verify, just go back in here and we're going to go variables and we're going to see that in fact we do have drink, liquor, style. Hey, did I not hit save with sweet? Apparently not. Okay, so there they are. Yeah, drink, liquor, style, and sweet. I also have it, believe it or not, written down on a piece of paper right next to me. Drink, style, liquor, sweet. Okay? So we're good. And now, just like I said before, and you see my counter variable is still up there from, and I can keep that there. But I want to go ahead and make sure that these are working. And I want to keep track of them, okay? And I don't want to just put one on there. I'm going to put them all in there. So this is kind of my little tabulation. Hey, but whatever. Dollar, dollar, drink. Dollar, dollar, okay? Dollar, dollar, style. Dollar, dollar. What's the other one? Liquor. L-I-Q-O-U-R. Whoopsie. Forgot the dollar. My, quickly we forgot, huh? Dollar, liquor, and dollar, and then finally we have dollar, SWEET, dollar. Okay? That's going to get quite small, so let me just bold that, but also knock it down to about a hot 10. And that's not, hopefully you can see that, but that's going to go ahead and update as I go through this, so that'll be there. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this just so I can see it kind of carry on throughout. Delete U, Command V. I just want to see that my choices are being updated correctly, okay? And this last one here. So now we want to plan and tabulate this darn thing, okay? So we have these choices. We have the drinks, whether or not we want rocks in it, what kind, and then finally the sweetness level. And then once all those decisions are made, you see that we have our continue button, and they should all be, next slide, yeah, next slide, for now, okay? But then we have this last one here, and it's called drink recipe, and then items you need. Oh, I guess I should do that there. And this drink recipe, in this little area here, and I think I called it, oh, I didn't, look at me. Goodness gracious, I'm going to call it content again. No, I'm not. I'm going to call it recipe. Okay. This, if you go to the state view, has all the different types, not all the different ones, but at least the ones that I'm going to show you, so there's 3 in here, of what is needed, okay? So they have different states here based on whatever drink, and then I have it, not highlighted, but labeled. So this is a sweet whiskey Manhattan, and this is a dry gin martini, okay? And I might not have labeled things correctly, but you're going to be able to get the point here, okay? So I want the state. So when you enter this slide, so we know how to do that, right? So when you enter this slide, I want the information in this window right here to display based on the variables that are being updated at the top. But also along the way, I want these continue buttons to let me know where I should be headed and what I should be doing, okay? And this will make sense here shortly, hopefully. The first thing is updating and dealing with stuff and things. All I want all of these to do, and I'm not going to do the old-fashioned or the mix, I'm just going to focus on these 2, the Manhattan and the Martini. All I want this button to do, and of course I need an advanced action, is I want it to do what? Update the variable drink, right? So this is the one that we labeled drink. And then I want it to show the continue button, okay? Because we want to make sure that people have an opportunity to change their mind. So albeit this is going to say Manhattan, update this to Manhattan, and he's going to show up in this continue button. But if I change my mind, I'm like, oh darn it, I meant Martini. I could still click on that, and you'll see that the variable will update and I can continue, okay? So let's do that. First things first, execute advanced action. I'm going to go ahead and make one, and I'm just going to call this, it has to be as specific as possible. I'm going to go ahead and make, should I duplicate this? No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to make a new one. I'm going to call this man hat clicked. Okay? And I'm going to call this man clicked. So the only thing that needs to happen is I'm going to assign, I don't know why that happened. I'm going to assign the drink variable with the literal Manhattan, okay? And again, write this down. I did a capital M and spelled out Manhattan with a bunch of A's, okay? The other thing that I want to do is I want to show the continue. Show. Oh boy. Which one could he possibly be? I think he's this one. But those are the only 2 things that I want to happen. So I'm going to say save as action just so I know what that. barman continue 30. Yeah, for whatever reason it's that, okay? So the same thing here with the martini. I'm not going to do these other two, right? I just want to show you what's going on. So now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to execute advanced action again. And don't get intimidated by advanced actions, for crying out loud. It's basically saying I have one button and I want multiple things to happen, right? So that's really all advanced actions really are. So I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to call it mark clicked, M-A-R-T. And I want to assign drink, right? I still want to assign drink. That's organizing this variable. But instead of Manhattan, I want that to be martini. And I still want that next button to show. So there's my update action. Okay? Set close. Make sure these things are settled just right. So man is... What the heck? Did I not save that? Mark clicked. What in the heck did I do? Thought I duplicated it, but I might have just changed it. Call that man click just to get this thing moving. And of course, make this Manhattan again. Okay. So man clicked and then mark clicked. So we're going to see this up here. We're going to watch this. We're going to see this kind of preview. And there we go. Hey, why did he do that? Anyway, you see it says Manhattan, or it changes to martini. So that's the way that these variables work, is the last update is it overrides, right? So Manhattan, martini, okay? I definitely have to see why that just happened now. Oh, because I didn't have them hidden. So now let's try it. There we go. But then again, I can continue, but I'm like, oh, darn it, I meant martini. That changes, and I can still continue there, okay? So we're good with that. But now here's the deal, okay? If I have a Manhattan, this is not up to me here, but this is up to the bartender of the class. I'm going to definitely ask, well, if you have a Manhattan, do you want that darn thing on the rock straight up or neat? Which is fine. But then if I pick a martini, I don't need to know that. I just need to jump down here to, do you want whiskey or bourbon, okay? So that's the beauty of what we got going on with variable controlled content. What I'm going to do now is put a conditional action on our continue button here, okay? And I'm going to do that by simply saying, I'm going to call it go where. Wait, actually, I'm going to make a new one before I do anything weird. Call it go where. Okay? And the first one I'm going to call is man. The next one I'm going to call is marked. And I want it to be conditional, right? So I'm going to say if the variable drink is equal to, now I know that I have to make this literal, right? Because I'm the one that typed in and said it should be Manhattan. So if it's Manhattan, jump to slide. I don't need style, right? So, oh yes I do, sorry. That's the one where I need style to. So I'm going to say style. Okay? But then I can come up here. I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to say marked. Definitely conditional. And I'm going to say if the variable drink is equal to martini. Okay? M-A-R-T-I-N-I. Now I don't need to go to style. I need to just jump right to liquor. So jump to slide. Liquor. Okay? And then, of course, if you look at this, I have old-fashioned and then I have mixed. Okay? So if I wanted to, I can just keep going. I could put old fashioned here, and then I can add, so I would do that, right? I'll just say old. And then if I had mixed drinks there like I have there, I would just say mixed. I could just keep going, okay? Because what's going to happen here is when we have these, the first thing is going to happen. So it's going to go through and say, drink, Manhattan, jump to slide 4. Well, it wasn't that. So it'll go to the next one. It'll say drink is equal to martini, so I should go to 5, okay? I'm going to say save as action here. Okay, and then close it. We're going to make sure that it's there. So execute the action, I'm going to call it go where, okay? So now, based on this variable right here, this continue button is going to come up, and it's going to go through the script and then navigate me to which respective one I should have to. Okay, so let's see if it works right now. So I want a Manhattan. I click on it, updated to Manhattan, and now my continue button goes directly to on the rock, straight up or neat. Awesome. Now, if I click Martini, Martini is up there. Here's my continue button. It navigates me. Well, as you can see, it bypassed everything. It took me right to the whiskey and bourbon. All right, which is going to work out, right? So an old fashioned. I don't know how to make an old fashioned, but then you only have to make those slides once. Then, okay, and it just really helps with organizing and going through all that. So now we're going to move on. So drink, style, liquor, ba-ba-da-ba-da. So I'm going to jump to this next one here. And I'm going to say, I'll just do the first two again, right? So make sure my button is hidden on the rocks. And this is style now, right? Execute advanced action. Make a new one. And this is OTR. Clicked. OTR. And the two things that I want to happen is I want to update. So I want to assign the variable style with, and it's going to be literal because I'm the one doing it, on the rocks. Again, I'm doing title case, right? Ba, ba, ba. Actually, this is called sentence case. No, it's not. Title case. Whatever. So I definitely want to assign that variable with on the rocks. And I want to show, let's see, that's a glass. Did I call it glass? Yes, I did. Okay, good. So we're good, right? OTR clicked, OTR, boom, done. I'm going to save as action. Okay. I'm going to do straight up next time. So I'm going to call it SU. SU. And this time I want to, instead of style, I'm going to do it with STRAIGHT up. And I still wanted to show that. So we're going to update action. So we're good, right? On the rocks, I want to make sure that that says OTR clicked. Then straight up, I want to make sure that says straight up clicked. Now we're good, okay? Now I'm going to cruise over to here. I got whiskey, I got bourbon. This is probably getting quite redundant, so I'm going to go through it pretty quick. You know that all I have to do, that was first, obviously, let's see if this is hidden. It is not. It's called liquor with an extra thingy, okay? Execute advanced action. Make a new one. I'm going to say whiskey clicked, WHISKEY. No, I'm just going to say whisk. Clicked. Okay. So here we are in the liquor, right? So you see up here, liquor. So I'm going to assign liquor with literal. What am I doing? Whiskey now? WHISKEY. And then I want to show The bottle. Where's that at? Bottle. Huh. Whiskey? Hang on. What is this thing named? Oh, liquor. Execute advanced action. Make a new one. Whiskey clicked. Right? I want to update the variable liquor with whiskey, W-H-I-S-K-E-Y. Not in caps though. Okay. And I want to show the liquor continue. Okay, we good? So I'm going to update that. And now I'm going to duplicate it because I want that to say bourbon, B-O-U-R, burb. And I still want to assign liquor, but I want to do it with bourbon this time, B-O-U-R-B-O-N. And I still want to show that, so we're okay there. Make sure everything is doing. So this is whisk clicked. This is execute advanced action. Burb clicked. Okay. And then since we're on a roll here, I'm just going to keep going. I'll just do one of these. I'm just going to do sweet because it's getting old, right? So execute advanced action. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that. What am I doing? Sweet clicked. I'll say sweet clicked. Sweet clicked. Sweet. This time I want to assign not liquor, but, well, sweet. Sweet with sweet. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's see. And then I want to show not liquor continue, but shaker continue? Yes. Let me just make sure that worked. So, okay, yeah. All right. Now we need to go back and make sure that everything is going to go where we want. So on this one here, if it's Manhattan, we're going to go directly to style. If it's Martini, we're going to jump down to here. Okay. Let's see what's next. So if it's whiskey, this one here we should be okay with just going to the next one, right? And this is fairly sweet. So I think what I'm going to do is, just because I don't like, is it dry? What do I want to do here? Let's say whiskey is sweet and then bourbon is not sweet. So if it's bourbon, I'm going to directly skip sweet and go right to the recipe, okay? But if it's whiskey, then they can choose their whiskiness. How about that? Yeah, I'll do that. So now, again, so I don't want to do a standard stuff and things. I want to go ahead and do an advanced action. And I think I'm going to use that one. Yeah. And I'm going to duplicate that. Just call it go where now. And I'll keep these the same, except I'm going to change it. So I'm going to say W-H-I-S-K. And then B-O-U-R, burb. So here's what I'm saying. If it's whiskey, and so if it's whiskey, so if liquor, the variable liquor is equal to whiskey, right? So capital W-H-I-S-K-E-Y. I want to jump to slide recipe. No, that's a lie. Sweet. Okay? Because I'm saying we have to figure out what sweetness they want, okay? But if it's bourbon, if the variable of liquor is equal to bourbon, bourbon, then go ahead and just jump to slide recipe, okay? Because I don't know what my rationale is here. I'm just trying to convey kind of the navigation of this, okay? So go where now? Update action. Okay. Close. Make sure that this says, hey. Make sure that this says go where now. Okay. So now we should be good. Now we should be able to navigate through this whole darn thing, because this is doing nothing but going to the next slide then, right? Okay. So now we're just going to, let's go ahead and do this whole thing. Preview a project. Start this off. Okay. Here we go. So I got my rules, I got my regulations. Fine, everything's settled. Continue. I want a Manhattan. Manhattan. Awesome. I want it on the rocks. And I know, what did I say here? So I'm going to go ahead with whiskey. So it should go to the suite. And I want that darn thing sweet. Ooh, object. Okay. See this thing up here? It says object HTML div element. I'll show you why that happened here in a second. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And then it brings me to where I want it to go. Okay, so let's start it from scratch this time. Rules, regulations, check. This time I want a martini. And I want it to be bourbon. So in this situation, you're getting a bourbon martini. That's it. All right. So there you go. Yeah, interesting. I forgot I did that. So there we go. So we have that thing kind of collecting the data as we go through and then jumping to the slides that we want based on everything. Let me show you why the suite didn't work here, okay? I'm going to jump in on this. So the reason suite did not work is because, and you said it was called object. You saw that it said div element. What you want to be careful of is JavaScript, and that's exactly what Captivate works on in the background, is called object-oriented coding, so they're looking for objects. The moment that we made this variable suite, we then are saying update that said variable with suite as well, okay? So these two things are just entirely too close to one another for us to worry about, right? So I don't know what the easiest thing for me to do is. Let me just rename this to literal and just say medium suite. Okay, update action. So now they're different enough and they're not going to kind of contradict each other. So now when I go ahead and do that, I'll just do this one slide right here. Now when I click on suite, you can see it actually says medium suite instead of that HTML. So if you do get that div HTML error at all during your design and whatnot, it's because the naming is just too close, okay? Even though I had one capital, one lowercase, it was just too close for JavaScript to differentiate. So just maybe add a word to it or something along those lines, okay? So now we have everything that we need, except for this last part where we're saying, all right, based on these 4 variables, or just 2 or just 3, whatever the case might be, I want to go ahead and navigate to a specific state within this content here, which I'm calling recipe, okay? And I do that by saying on enter slide, right? or on enter whatever action I have going on here. So I'm going to say when you enter it, go through this whole entire process of what I have labeled here, and let's display the right thing. And let me go ahead and just look at what I have here, just so you can see my states. So I have this one here where it's a sweet whiskey Manhattan, okay, which is bourbon. Whatever. I'm just going to get the word bourbon out of there. Look like I don't know what I'm talking about calling it. Oh, gosh. Okay, we'll do that. So basically what this means is I need to make decisions of Manhattan. And let's see, is this one going to be... This looks like it's neat, right? I don't see anything about ice here, so... Oh, but I didn't do that one. Did I do straight up? We'll say it's straight up. So Manhattan, that is straight up with whiskey and is in fact sweet. So if somebody makes those choices, Manhattan straight up whiskey sweet, this recipe here should display. The other one that I did here for some reason was dry gin. So I'm going to call this dry, oh gosh, a dry bourbon. Ooh, God. Why can't I? There we go. So this is going to be a dry B-O-U, bourbon. God, I keep doing bourbon, okay? So this is going to be a dry bourbon martini. So in this case, the drink is going to be martini. I don't need to worry about the style. I do need to worry about the bourbon. And then I don't need to worry about the sweetness, okay? So those are the things that I understand and know this to be. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say on enter. I want to execute advanced action. I'm just going to call this choice after I make a new one. I'm going to call this choice. And now I need to have, this is, say you have 18 variations or 36 variations. That's what these tabs are for again. So for now, we don't have to worry about it too much. And I'm just going to call this one exactly what it is, which is a Manhattan straight up with whiskey and is sweet. Okay? And then the other option, which I'm going to get to here shortly, we'll do that. And this is conditional, right? So I'm going to go conditional. And for that particular state to show, I need to say that if the variable of drink is equal to Manhattan, M-A-N-H-A-T-T-A-N, and the variable style is equal to, I got to go literal here, straight up, and the variable liquor is equal to literal W-H-I-S-K-E-Y, and the variable sweet is equal to, what did I say, medium sweet, right? And medium sweet. If all of those things happen, so if they go through and they're making choices and all four of those variables pan out to this, I want to change the state of recipe, and then you can see that I have this sweet whiskey Manhattan right here, okay? We good to go? One thing I want to point out quick is you see Manhattan does not have quotes around it. Straight up has quotes around it. Reason being is there's a space between straight and up. JavaScript likes to say, hey, this is one whole word, not two or what have you. So that's why they put the quotes around it. That's the only difference, okay? So next up, if we cruise over to here, we are going to have a bourbon martini, okay? So we're going to do that, and then B. This is also conditional. The thing about it is we don't have to differentiate all four of them if they're not going to be there, right? So now I get to say if the variable drink, which is always going to be something we have to look for, is equal to literal martini, and the variable liquor is equal to bourbon, B-O-U-B-R-O-N, yes. Well, then I want to change the state of recipe, and I said dry gin, but you know what I'm saying, to the dry martini, okay? So this one here, even though there's 4, I don't use all 4, right? Because remember, I'm jumping around. The only things that need to matter for this state to show up is if those 2 are here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and say save as action. Okay. Looks like we're okay. Make sure this says choice. Now I should be able to go through this darn thing and make some decisions here. So let's see what happens. Preview the entire project. Okay. Whoa. That was big. So here we got our fellow. We're going to start it off. I'm going to go through the rules and regulations. Okay, great. I want a Manhattan. Cool. I want that Manhattan straight up. Cool. And I want it to be whiskey. Cool. And of course, I want it to be medium sweet. So now based on my Manhattan straight up whiskey, medium sweet, I get this drink recipe of whiskey, sweet vermouth, bada. Okay? Awesome, right? So now, if I go through rules, regulations, now I want a martini, and I want it to be bourbon. See how it just went right by the thing? And now it's this recipe here for the bourbon, cracked ice, gin, all that stuff. Okay? And I want you to point out, though, is even though I did that back, you see I did that back, even though it still says straight up here, and it still says medium sweet over there, according to my script or what have you, the only 2 things that matter are these 2, right? So that works out. And that's how you do variable controlled navigation. Or no, variable controlled content. And then just base it off all of these, right? So now you know that you could make all of these options. I mean, there could be a old-fashioned that is neat, that maybe you skip this part because old-fashions are only made one certain way. I don't know. And then you go along with it. So you have everything kind of built, and it's just a matter of when you get to this last slide, if there's going to be some sort of results, as with Maggie's, then all of a sudden, hey, based on all of those variables that you have up here, go ahead and display a specific state. Okay? And that is that.